Hello, good people, and welcome to the Heaven Earth Church Podcast. My name is Brad Miller. I produce the podcast, and this is all about a church which has the mission of creating a place where to make a lasting impact on our community, and a place where even if you feel like you don't fit in church, you can fit in here. Our pastors, Ross Stackhouse, and our regular Sunday morning conversations, we like to call them, are at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time at our location on Main Street in Whiteland, Indiana. That's at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Our location is near the intersection of Main Street and US 31, right across the street from Whiteland High School. We're always happy to have you to join us in our time together at Heaven Earth Church on our Sunday morning conversations. The purpose of this podcast is for us to get to know the people who are part of the Heaven Earth Church congregation and to share that with one another and with our community. And today we're pleased to have with us, and what's your name, young man?
My name is Reid Snyder, and I'm going to be a senior at Center Grove High School.
Awesome. Well, we're glad you're with us, and you've been a part of Heaven Earth Church for some time now, right?
Yep, just about 3 years.
Uh-huh. Oh, that's awesome. Well, Reid, you mentioned you're going to be a senior at Center Grove High School, so we were wanting to get the perspective here on the Heaven Earth Church podcast of people from all walks of life and all situations. So tell us what kind of things that you are, that you're doing at Center Grove. What are you kind of leaning into academically there? What are you enjoying there academically?
Well, I'm really enjoying business classes, and I'm thinking that I might go to college for marketing is the plan. So,
All right. Well, you're a rising senior. Have you got some colleges at least kind of thinking about?
well, the hope is that I'll go to IU Indy. So,
All right.
definitely going to be trying for that.
All right. Well, that sounds good. What kind of interest do you have? What kind of, I don't know, hobbies or just things that you like to do?
I enjoy video games mostly, but I also do some other things. I really enjoy reading about the history of Indianapolis. I find the state very interesting. So,
Okay.
Mhm.
Well, let's just talk about the video games for a second. What's one of your video games that's kind of your go-to game?
Most of the time I play Smash Bros. Ultimate for the Switch. I do a lot of tournaments for it.
Okay. So you're involved with tournaments, and that's good.
Yeah.
So you do? Are you doing okay on those? Are you middle of the pack, or where are you at in those things?
Probably around the middle of the pack. I'm not amazing, but I think I'd like to think I'm proficient.
Are you having fun with that?
Yeah.
Good, good. Well, you mentioned how you've been studying the history of Indianapolis,
Mhm.
and you find that interesting. Well, give me kind of a fun fact or something you've learned about the history of Indianapolis that caught your eye.
Um, let's see. I'm trying to think of something recent that I learned. Actually, for 4-H next year, I'm hoping to go to it's right next to the Indiana Medical History Museum, but there's an abandoned powerhouse there that I think would make for some really good pictures. But it was actually part of a mental hospital that was there at the time called Central State Hospital that operated from the 1880s or 1890s all the way to the 60s, although in some places it's listed as closing in the 90s, but that's where certain operations kept on going, but the museum there opened in the 60s, and I find it a very interesting place.
Have you been there?
Yeah, I have. Not inside of the building, obviously, but I've been inside of the museum.
Yeah.
So,
Well, there's having lived on the west side of Indianapolis for several years, there's all kinds of interesting stories about Central State
Mhm.
and things that went on there. So it sounds like you've got some opportunities to learn some interesting stories here.
For sure.
There's whatever you want to say, kind of ghost story type of things that
Yeah.
are based out of there. I know you'll find out more about that. Rita, have you lived here in this Johnson County area most of your life?
Yeah. Well, I spent the first, I think, until I was 7, we lived in Indianapolis, but on the outskirts, in the suburb, but it was still Marion County.
Yeah.
But we moved to right around downtown Greenwood in 2015, and then we moved to Center Grove in 2021, and that's where we live at now.
Okay. Very good. Very good. Tell me a little bit about your family.
Um, Well, what exactly do you want to know, I guess?
Your parents, brothers, sisters, anything happening around the house?
Yeah, I do have a sister named Lane. And obviously I have two parents. Those are kind of required, I guess. But yeah, obviously, my dad, he goes here as well.
Right.
Um, he works at Rolls-Royce and he plays guitar. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And my mom is an instructional designer for a company that like designs like office interiors, like office furniture and stuff like that. They kind of lay out floor plans and stuff like that. And then my sister is going in to be a freshman at Center Grove High School as well, and she really likes to draw. So
Awesome.
it's her deal.
Awesome. So you got your home life and you've got your school life. Let's talk about your life here at HeavenEarth Church. So tell me a little bit how you got here in the first place, and then we'll kind of talk about like what keeps you here.
Right. Well, basically, it kind of started with, well, my parents attended the Creek for 12 years, starting before I was born. So I went there for, I guess, technically 10 years, but obviously I was a baby starting out. So don't remember a whole ton of it, but I remember a little bit. And then after we moved to Greenwood, we started going to Rock Lane, and we went there basically until the pandemic started. And then still for a little bit after, virtual services, because a lot of churches started doing that. But then, like, I could kind of see it at the time, but I think my parents felt a lot stronger about it. But it kind of felt like it was like a little bit of a smaller church, but it still kind of like felt like a mega church in certain aspects. And I don't think my parents were very like appreciative of that, because obviously they left the Creek because they just kind of like dumped a lot of workload on them, because they set up a satellite campus. But as my dad was looking for a new church, he came across the virtual services here and attended online for a while, and then decided to attend in person. And after a couple weeks, brought me along, and we started coming here, and it's a pretty cool place.
So your dad came, and you and your sister came, and then your dad got involved with the music side of things here. Few months into it, I believe.
Yeah.
And so you've been around here about 3 years now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yet, you're a young man. How old are you again? Tell me. You told me
17.
you're 17. So you came at around 14, something like that, right?
Yep. Sounds about right.
So tell me what you kind of came because your dad came and your family came. But what about you, Reid? I want to know, do you think you would be if you didn't have that connection with your family, do you think you still would have a connection here with HeavenEarth Church? Is there something here about it that you find attractive to you personally?
Well, I mean, I probably wouldn't have found it initially, because obviously as like a 14-year-old kid, like straight out of the pandemic, that wasn't something I would have been looking for.
Right now, if you were coming right now.
Yeah, well, right now, I think I do. I enjoy, running sound. I think that's a cool thing that I do. And I also, I enjoy Ross's like preaching style. I think it's very interesting, and I like to hear, the opinions of people, and not just like the pastor, right? But you get to kind of a diverse viewpoint from all the people that are on different walks of life, and that's kind of what you're doing with this podcast here, kind of bringing that to light. So there's a lot bigger of a community aspect here than there are with other larger churches like ones we've attended in the past.
Mm-hmm. So what would you think? So that's kind of what's attractive to you now, and you kind of touched on this a little bit. What do you think would kind of keeps you here? Let's just say kind of what keeps you here. For instance, I know you're involved with a little bit the youth group here, aren't you?
Yeah, that's right. I do think that the youth group is interesting, because it kind of, gives me a chance to talk to, other, students around my age that might have similar or differing views, but I think it brings some, fresh opinions to the table, obviously, with some people that might not always speak up during service, like myself, right? So, yeah, I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah. So you've got those, on Sunday mornings, we have the conversation style messages that sound like somewhat similar when the youth group's meeting. You're having some conversations about sometimes deeper subjects. Is that right?
Yeah, well, we usually have like some specific like passages that we'll look at from a particular book of the Bible. Like we'll look at a chapter or something, and then we'll generally go into a deeper discussion about it. And I think that's very cool.
Yeah, and you've done some other activities together, events of some sort, I believe, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, like you mean like outside of the
I don't know what. Yeah, I think you did some service activities to help other people out. Maybe I'm thinking of something else here.
mm,
Maybe you've done some fun activities, that kind of thing.
not like outside of church that I remember, but
Okay. Well, the youth group's been it sounds to me like you've done Sunday morning worship. You're working on the sound board,
Mhm.
and sound like you're kind of a bit of a techie guy. Looks like to me. Is it fair?
Well, I mean, if somebody teaches me something, I think I can pick it up pretty well.
Yeah.
But
Well, you're into video games and that kind of stuff.
right,
Most of the people I know who are doing some form of video games, my own kids included, they got their relatively so in the tech world.
right.
They more so than me. I'll put it uh, that that way. Let me ask you this, Reid. If has there been any kind of a moment here in your 3 years here at Heaven Earth Church where you've kind of had an aha moment or kind of a hey, this is more so than just kind of something my family's doing or I'm doing because I'm kind of have to do. But there was any kind of moment or series of moments. It's kind of like a God thing or a moment when you said, hey, "This is cool. There's something greater than this experience. There's some kind of a spiritual element or godlike element to this."
I mean, like not especially because obviously I was like very young, and most of the church's experiences that I had was with Sunday school. I mean, obviously I would sometimes attend the regular service to see my dad play the guitar, or I think towards the end of our stay at Rock Lane I was attending regular services, but this was like more so the first like I guess real like full church experience that I would have had for the most part. So I don't know, I feel like it's not so much like a moment, but like the way that Ross preaches, it just helps you like feel like more connected because it's not as if he's preaching to a giant crowd like he's at these other churches.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Well, appreciate you sharing that and going a little deeper with me for just a second there.
Mhm.
Reid, let's just say that there's, you know, you got some friends you hang around with at Center Grove or otherwise.
Yeah.
Let's just say that you have a friend in your life who, for whatever reason, they come to you and they've, say, Reid, I would talk to something about something a little beyond video games, something like that. Something bad is going on in my life. Something with the parents, something with, some grade thing maybe, or some breakup with a girl or whatever it would be. Something that's I think when they came and wanted to, kind of share with you or kind of wanted to ask you your opinions about things. I've taken, I think you're the type of guy who'd be a good listener and good able to respond to them, and perhaps this type of situations happen to you. But do you think that a part of that conversation you might have with this friend might be saying, "Hey, would you either check out Heaven or Church online or come with me sometime?" Do you think that could be a part of the conversation of helping somebody out?
Um, I think it could because I think a lot of the things that are talked about here kind of relate to, common problems. Like obviously today they talked about marriage and divorce, which is, could kind of relate to some things like, like a relationship issue or whatever.
Right. So you think you'd feel comfortable inviting somebody to church?
Yeah, probably. I mean, more comfortable inviting someone here than to like uh, a mega church or whatever, because that could be, it would obviously seem a little more pervasive or whatever.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess you just think comparatively, you feel relatively comfortable inviting somebody to church here as opposed to some of the other experiences that you've had.
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, that's part of what we want to do here is to share with the folks who maybe listen to us that we want you to have a place where you can feel comfortable checking us out. And that's where you see good people like Reid, who's a 17-year-old senior in high school, and myself, who's not a 17-year-old senior in high school, and put it this way, I had my 50th high school reunion a month ago, so to give you some idea of our age difference here. But that's part of what we want to share with people is that there's places to relate on a human level that can get us to kind of a spiritual level, that kind of thing, and how there's real people here. One of the things we like to say here, Reid, and kind of the motto of the church, if you will, is, or one of the mission statements of the church is we exist to make a lasting impact in our community. Just from your experience as a young person attending here and being a part of the church, do you think that's true? And if so, how is that true?
I do think so because this church, because I mean, like a lot of other churches, people just go on Sunday because they kind of feel obligated. But here is different. Everybody's here for a reason, and a lot of times, it gives you like opportunities to do things outside of church, like the night in the park or even service activities. Like whenever we did the cleanup right out back here. So it just helps you feel like a lot more connected and a lot less scripted.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. One of the other things that we like to say around HeavenEarth Church and is it's on the website and other places published, and you sometimes hear it said around here is if you don't feel like you fit in church, you will fit in here.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess kind of a similar question. Do you think that's true for one thing? And if so, how's that true?
Yeah, I do feel like it's true because I mean, not that I particularly felt out of place at any previous church that I've gone to. Obviously I was just a kid, right? It's kind of hard to feel out of place
Sure.
whenever you're around other kids your age.
Right.
But the reason that one wouldn't feel out of place here is because, like I said earlier, Ross's things kind of relate to, a problem that you might have, and then people speak up and share their problems, and, a lot of them might relate to you, and you can feel a lot more like comfortable that way because it's not like about preaching like a message necessarily. Well, it is, but not like you have to live this way like some other churches are, but it's about, the people, right?
Yeah.
That's what makes this church special.
I love the way you put it. It's about the people. And so we look to be a place for indeed, whatever situation you're in life, you're a young man. We have people from all walks of life in our church and different life circumstances. And it seems to me that we are, if they have felt uncomfortable, I have not seen that myself. And people seem to be related to one another, and people find a friendly face here, and people who are not judgmental in terms of, people's life circumstances. Well, Reid, let me just kind of ask you one more thing. If there is another person listening to our show here today, and they kind of think, well, that Reid's a pretty cool guy, and maybe they are a young person who's like a high school student or a college student, or maybe they're the parent of someone who's high school student or younger person, and they're kind of looking for a place to fit in or looking for a place to be. What would be your word to that person? How would you encourage them?
Well, like, even if you're not like super religious, it's a place that could help you out. It's a place that isn't about telling you a way to live. It's a place that's about helping you out, right? And you helping other people out. So definitely would recommend coming here.
All right. Well, I agree with that wholeheartedly that people can find, if you come to check out HeavenEarth Church, you can find really cool people like Reid Snyder here and many other people. Just to give you an idea, on a regular Sunday morning gathering, we have about 65, 70 or so people. We have a bunch of kids, 15 to 20 kids, like they go back to our children's church. So we have lots of younger parents. We have parents, folks my age, grandparents, grandparenting age. And then we have a good number of folks who are in this middle-aged, teenage level. I think when your youth group gets together, about how many you have? I'm just curious.
Not that many. Maybe, like 7 to 10
7
on
to
a big
10?
week.
Well, that's a good solid number. But my point is we've got people from all age situations. We have people from all social, economic backgrounds, racial backgrounds, societal, sexual identity backgrounds, all kinds of things that are here that'll be part of that for you to check out and be a part of. And our messages are really based on a conversation to get you closer from wherever you're at, a step closer to a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. What we like to say here is this real integration where heaven and earth kind of smash up against each other. And so we are living that out here, heaven on earth. My name is Brad Miller. I'm a retired pastor myself, and I'm one of the people you can meet here along with Reid. And then we invite you to come. Our Sunday morning conversations, we like to call them, are at 9:30 a.m. and Eastern Time. And we're located in Whiteland, Indiana, on Main Street, near the intersection with Highway 31, right across the street from Whiteland High School. You can always find out more about us at our website, HeavenEarthChurch.org. And here on the podcast, both on YouTube and on Apple and on Spotify, you can go to all the back episodes of the podcast interviews that we do, as well as the messages, Sunday morning conversations are all there as well for you to take advantage of. We hope to see you here real soon, here at Heaven Earth Church. This is the church where we look to make a lasting impact in our community. In the church, if you don't feel like you fit in church, you fit in here. We'll see you soon, good people, here on the Heaven Earth Church Podcast.